Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new episode of All Queued Up, the review podcast tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc., etc. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, which is my co-host, Maya Don Fisher. How's your week been?
Pretty good week. Pretty good week. I got my entry turned in for the painting competition at the comic shop, the Gundam Barbatos that I painted up and showed you pictures of. It looks really good. I'm proud of it. Um, got a
Yeah.
got an airbrush, a portable spray booth for airbrushing. Seeing as how I got an airbrush about 5 or 6 months ago, and it's just been sitting in a box, and I haven't tried it out yet because I haven't had anywhere to use it. Got a little portable spray booth by Master on Amazon for like $100, and it's pretty nice. It's got dual fans. It's got a filter that clips into place, so the fan sucks the paint particles into the filter, and you know there's no mess.
Uh-huh.
And it's got LED lights on the top, so everything's nice and lit. And I broke it out, put it together Monday, and broke it out yesterday, and used it for a little bit. And I've been painting minis for 4 or 5 years on the regular, but airbrushing's a completely different beast. Completely different beast. It's going to take a while to get used to it, getting your paint consistency right and your spray distance down and the precise control of the airflow, getting it to where you don't blast paint too fast out of the end of the gun. And it's going to take practice to get the hang of it, but I'm excited about it. It's just another tool for my arsenal. But started playing Tales of Symphonia Remastered. It's one of my favorite games.
That's interesting. That doesn't sound like Last of Us Part 2.
It's not. But I'm gonna be playing that one soon, I promise. Um, but that came out a week or two ago, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and I was like, ooh, and I got it from Best Buy because I have a Best Buy credit card, and I was like, yeah, I'm buying that.
I'm kind of surprised you haven't spent the money on Octopath Traveler 2.
I didn't realize that it's available for the PS5 until 2 days ago.
Yeah,
So
the only console it's not available for is the Xbox.
So I'm actually going to pick it up probably next month. But yeah, I will play Last of Us 2 before I play that.
Gotcha.
but yeah, got Misty and Madison each a surprise gift. Got Misty a sweet new coffee mug. It's it's a customizable coffee mug. It's got pictures, like little animated drawings of she and I on there, and I'm hugging her from behind. We're both naked on it, and it says on the other side, it says, "I love everything about you, um, including your butt. I really love your butt," or something like that. And she loves it, but she gets embarrassed by it. It's funny. And I got Madison a baby goat squishmallow, and she's not put that thing down in 48 hours. She put it down for the first time this morning because she had to go to school. She's like, "Can I take this to school with me?" I was like, "No." She loves it. So I was like, "Hell yeah."
Nice. Noise.
But yeah. Other than that, just been painting and I built that Snake Mountain last week. That Mega Construct Snake Mountain. It's fucking ginormous. 3,803 pieces. And it took me 4 days to build, and 3 of those days were fucking like 10, 11-hour days I worked on it. But
Jesus.
yeah, it took a long time. But it looks so cool. especially next. I got them on the shelf next to my Castle Gray Skull, and they look cool side by side. But yeah, that's pretty much been my week. Other than that, I haven't really done much of anything other than watching the things we reviewed or we were reviewing today. How's your week been?
It's just been a lot of like if it's not work, it's dealing with car stuff because as a lot of you heard last week, I drove that car from San Jose, but like there's maintenance that needs to be done on the car. So Saturday or Sunday after work, the woman that would take me to this grocery store where we didn't have a car, she brought her husband over who used to be a mechanic. And so he was kind of looking it over and he was like, honestly, it's just a lot of TLC stuff. You want to replace fluids, you want to make sure, belts are good and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like basic maintenance.
Yeah, because
He's like,
belts, when a car
for a
sits,
year, then you definitely.
belts, when a car sits, they'll dry rot if it just sits. So that's a good thing to replace, and the fluids and everything. Yeah. What else did he say?
Right. I don't get paid till the afternoon, so my dad goes to dialysis. When he got back, I went out and bought. What did I buy? I went out Monday and I went to the grocery store. There's some for the car. But one of the fun things about the car that sucked so much, and I'm glad I kind of got it taken care of a little bit, is when rubber sits for too long, there's like a disintegration on it. Mm-hmm. And so it gets this black fucking film. And I could not for the life of me get it off of the car. If I touched the frame of the door, there would just be black marks on my hand. So I went out there Monday evening and just like scrubbed the shit out of it. And now this shit's all in my fingernails and whatnot because it won't go away. But it's like fucking 18 hand washes and a shower later and it's still there. I'm like, oh, Jesus. But yeah, yesterday I went and I was gonna get the car washed. I was gonna clean it myself because I was manually gonna do. Down the street from my house, there is a manual car wash. I should say,
yeah,
with like a power washer thing.
Yeah, with the wand and you stand and you go around the car and what have you.
And I was gonna bring a sponge or something to scrub the rest of the rubber. But it was like super rainy and windy yesterday, so I was like, nah. So instead, my dad and I did our due diligence and research to get proper insurance for the car, get all the paperwork in order to have it properly licensed and registered. So that way, when we get the smog check done, it's just honestly, the past few days have been a lot of that. And so nothing inherently special, but it's nice to have a car. It's nice to, hey, I'm going to go grab lunch real quick and not spend an arm and a leg because getting some fucking burgers. We're not using DoorDash or whatever. So
you're saving a couple $100 on Uber a week. You're saving what? How much would you say extra you'd have to pay for DoorDash versus going and getting it?
About half, genuinely.
Okay.
Like, let's say I wanted to get Burger King.
Mm-hmm.
What I got yesterday at Burger King cost me $23. It'd have been close to $50 if I did DoorDash.
Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh. So. And when I say lunch, $23, that was for all three of us, not just me.
Yeah, I assumed. I was going to say, It
was just a couple Whoppers, and then my mom didn't want anything but a large fry, so.
Well, hell, I know when Misty and I go to Burger King and get like 2 Whopper meals, it's like $15. So.
Yeah. But, Yeah, it's been awesome. Like, I'm so happy to fucking have a car again.
Hell yeah, that's great. That's great.
But the other thing is that we've been talking about moving to this move to Texas that's supposed to happen. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but working at a U-Haul supplier or dealer. Sorry, we're called a U-Haul dealer is what we are, because we're not a center, so we don't, we'd only make commission off of rentals and stuff. But I've been able to look into how much it costs to go from where we live in California to where we would go in Texas. Take a stab in the dark on how much you think that costs.
Okay.
Let's say 26-footer. Let's do a 26-footer as well.
Okay, a 26-foot trailer. Hold on, I'm pulling out my trusty calculator. I'm going to guess it's about 1,500 miles. I could Google the mileage.
You're about
roughly. Not flights, driving. 1,700 miles. So, okay. So 1,700 miles.
I like the dead air on the podcast for Maya.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm going to say it's going to be in between $525 and $600 just for the U-Haul mileage and gas.
So say the number again.
In between, let's say $600.
You couldn't be more wrong if you tried.
I mean, I tried.
We're gonna play a game. We're gonna play a game. I'm gonna do hot and cold for how much it costs to take a 26-footer from Elk Grove, California to Joshua, Texas.
Okay.
And you said 600? You are Arctic below 0 levels cold.
Okay, so it's 4 figures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1,200.
Still freezing.
Wow. Is the first digit a 2?
That would still be freezing.
You're fucking kidding me.
I'm not.
3.
Cold.
5.
Cold.
Oh my God. How much is it, seriously?
7,500.
$7,500.
Yep.
How much is it a mile?
Well, U-Haul doesn't calculate by miles.
Oh,
they calculate by a lot of factors. So because you're taking a vehicle, if you're doing a local run, so taking it back to the same place, they calculate by miles. But if you're going across the country, they don't necessarily count by miles. They give you an allotted amount of miles and then just give you a price. Now, what somebody did figure out is that he took a 26-footer from here to Arizona, and then he picked up another one to Texas. Now, doing that transfer truck situation cost him $4,000 instead of the $7,000. But he had to move everything from one 26-footer to the other.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. It is fucking extremely expensive to move across, to move that far.
See, I was calculating it by mile.
That's so fucking much. There's no way we would have that kind of money to begin with.
No. So,
what we kind of decided to do Sorry, folks. If this sounds like a weird conversation or like a weird interruption between Maya and I, it's because fucking StreamYard is a massive piece of shit right now. And it just delays my audio to Maya for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why. We're both hardwired. So
there's no reason for it to happen on either of our end.
So $7,500, which you guys don't have, won't have anytime fucking soon. Even with having a car and being able to save money on Uber and, food. What the fuck is the new tentative plan?
The plan is, when I was looking into that, I was sitting there saying, okay, well, Dad can get a loan. There's a company that he's gone through to get loans before called One Main, who has
One Main Financial.
A $12,000 to $10,000 loan. They keep offering that, and in lieu of that, what we have decided is we're going to use that loan to move. That's how we would move. But we were trying to find some other alternative to moving from California to Texas, because it doesn't matter what moving company you go with. They're going to charge you a huge amount from California to Texas. Penske, the other one I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Enterprise has fucking moving trucks, and they're still extremely expensive for the move. However, there is an alternative, and that's moving pods.
Oh, like the fucking storage containers that you can put on a flatbed or something.
Uh-huh. Those 1 10 by 10 container is about $2,000.
Still nothing to fucking sneeze at.
No, it's still expensive. I mean, it was gonna be expensive regardless. Like Jeff played it right. Jeff played it safe, where he got rid of all of his furniture and then stuffed everything into a 6x12 trailer and then drove that to Texas. And then bought all of his new furniture there. That was his absolute cheapest option.
And it still probably cost him.
And so I've been trying to talk to my parents, and oh yeah, it still was expensive as shit. It was still like I think that 6x12 trailer from here to Texas is like close to $2,000.
God damn.
Uh-huh.
See, I've moved from one state to another, but all of my belongings were with me in one vehicle. I didn't have to transport furniture and shit like that. So I've never rented a moving truck from one state to another. I have rented moving trucks from town to town, and that's always been less than a couple $100 or less than $300 total with mileage and gas and rental fees and etc. So, holy fuck.
Yeah, dude, it is insane. Like, it genuinely is extremely expensive. And it was a rude awakening for us, because we were like, how are we going to do this? My dad's like, I don't want to get out a loan to move. And I'm like, well, you got a better option. You let me know. Which I almost said, I think one of our better options is just stay here.
Yes.
I mean, like, yeah, I've been trying to tell people this, trying to explain it to people, because a lot of people go, why would you even want to move to Texas? It's a shitty state. There's problems. It's going to be expensive to move, yada, yada, yada. And I go, this is essentially the retirement home for my folks. That's what this is. It's got a backyard for my mom to do gardening. Everything's ground level, so they don't have to fucking, like, this is maybe an overshare, but my dad can't make it upstairs all the time to use the bathroom. Yeah. I've watched this man shit his pants so many times because he just can't make it upstairs fast enough. To go pee, he uses a cup in the kitchen and then puts it down the sink. I'm tired of seeing that. Not for the sake of, like, it's gross, but because
it's a better quality of life for them. I understand that.
Yes, and that's what's important.
I wish it weren't necessary.
But people go, well, why are you moving? like a couple people have asked, why are you going then? If it's their retirement home, and I go, because they need someone to take care of them. Jeff's not going to be there all the time. Jeff works like he's gone from the house, 3 to 4 days at a time because of his job. My dad's going to be doing home dialysis. That's a daily fucking thing. I need to be there for that because I'm going to be trained to do it.
Have you looked into...
So,
will his insurance cover that, getting it set up and everything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because I know insurance fucking regulations, what they cover from state to state, varies.
Well, for his situation and the circumstance he is in, it's a federal thing, not a state thing.
Okay.
Trust me, we have looked in that because I had that thought too. I was like, how are we going to handle that? How are we going to deal with the fact that California and Texas have different rules and laws when it comes to medical?
Mm-hmm.
And that was our solution. That was our discovery, was that it didn't matter because it was all federal. There was a woman that helped my dad file some paperwork here recently because of it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so yeah, no, it's just, it's a lot to deal with. You think of, if I move from here to another town like if we move to Tracy, which is about an hour and a half away, maybe an hour away from here, that wouldn't be as big of a fucking problem. That wouldn't be as big of a headache.
No.
But Jeff, he looks at it from the perspective of pure money. He looks at it from the perspective of politics.
Unfortunately.
So, but it'll be, I think on the other hand, it'll be a interesting experience.
Oh, it's going to be an experience.
I can't say positive or negative. Like I can't yet because I don't know. But I'll say the other interesting or good side to this, Maya, is I get to see a lot of the states going through to Texas because we're gonna drive there if we're using pods.
Yeah, and I'd say you can probably travel Route 66 for a part of the way.
I want to go through Albuquerque for sure, for obvious reasons.
Breaking Bad.
Oh
yeah.
But so that's been it, like honestly, the past couple days has just been that. Ever since we got the car, it's just been a lot of like, how do we handle this next bit? How do we, where do we go from here? And so I haven't had a whole lot of time to do fucking fun shit. At least the past week, I should say. But there is a couple fun things I got to do this week, and that's what we're going to review today. Segue, bitches. Season 1 and Poker Face Season 1. And then we're also going to talk about Mandalorian Episode 3 of Season 3, which we watched this morning before recording.
Yes.
Let's go in order of release and start with Poker Face.
Well, it was Episode 10. It was titled The Hook, season finale of Poker Face. The synopsis here is really short. Charlie finds herself in Atlantic City, where she finally faces the music with Cliff Sterling Sr. and even her sister Emily. So that's the write-up. Not much to tell there, is there? So at the end of the episode Escape from Ship Mountain, we saw that she was in the hospital with a broken leg in Denver. And Cliff was posted up outside saying, "We've got her." Next thing you know, the next episode starts. It cuts to a flashback of Cliff spending the past year tracking Charlie down where she may have been and just missing her by days in certain instances. And in some instances being right on her fucking heels and losing her, like in the nightclub in the middle episode. But Sterling Sr., played by Ron Perlman, uh, tells Cliff, he's like, I can go take her out right now. He's like, no, I want her healthy. Bring her to me when she's healthy. So he waits 2 months outside this hotel every day. She gets released, finds out her bill's been paid, and goes outside, and there's Cliff. He takes her back to Atlantic City, where she meets face to face with Sterling. He's like, I've got a gift for you. And in the flashbacks, we see that he's going to give her old job back, like all's forgiven. But when she reaches into this box, she pulls out a gun. The lights go out. Sterling gets shot and killed. And then we see how it plays out. Well, she's on the run because obviously they think she's done it. And she goes to her sister's house because her sister and niece live in Atlantic City. And her sister is played by Clea Duvall. Oh, so yummy, Clea Duvall. Oh, sorry. Dude, that woman does things to me. I'm telling you.
All right. Put it back in
ever since the '90s, man. I'm telling you, something about her. But yeah, we see a very strained family dynamic. We see Charlie on the run, because the FBI is now looking for her. Now she's on the FBI's radar. And her friend that she made back in the nursing home episode in the FBI was in charge of the case. So, yeah, it was a fun episode. It was good. It gives us some insight on her past a little bit. Sets up potential season 2. Like, where could it go from here? I enjoyed it. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a fun episode. I really enjoyed Ron Perlman. Like his role in it was a lot of fun. The fact that I didn't recognize his voice in episode 1 over the phone,
yeah,
brilliant. Because he's a very distinguishable voice. Like I usually can tell. I like the double cross throughout the entire episode. That was fun. And I do find it a little cliche, but it works for this show. Because like that's the entire, like, every time the title card comes up with every single episode, it looks like an old Grindhouse movie. That's how these are designed to be, is very Grindhousey. So having a cliche, this is how we're gonna keep the show going if we get a season 2. I thought that was pretty smart. But yeah, I mean, it's just I think the show started off stronger than it ended for sure. We had some rock star episodes, but we had some just fucking
their episodes.
Cue the fucking Price is Right losing music episodes, and like some of them are just forgetful, and I know that that's going to be essentially the same with season 2. If we get a season 2, it still hasn't been announced.
Well, I was just getting ready to say it has been confirmed in February. It's been renewed for a second season.
I missed that news entirely.
Well, I just saw it on Wikipedia.
All right, well, there you go. That's good. I mean, it deserves more light. I think last week was stronger than this week, but not by a ton.
No. Not by a ton, but definitely a little bit stronger. But still, a good, solid episode. Wasn't a shitty episode. Which I don't think there were actually shitty episodes. There were a couple that were just kind of there,
Yeah, like a.
But fewer of them than not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the show is. If you watch anime, there's a term called a filler episode. Filler episodes in terms of anime are they are designed to. They're literally called filler because, when an anime is being made and it's based off of a manga, which 9 times out of 10 they are, it might catch up to where the manga is, and so they have to come up with side content that's not part of the main plot in order to allow the viewer to not move away from it, so that way there's constant new content. And so you get a lot of filler episodes that outright fucking suck. And there's some shows where the filler is actually, there's more filler than there is content based off of the source material.
Yeah.
There are episodes in this show that feel like filler content. But the premise of the show lends to really have anybody come in and kind of write their own little thing for Charlie to do.
Yeah.
So it's smart in that. But yeah, I mean, that's
well, it's got that. It's got that old school serial, old school TV series feel to it. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, like this week this happens, this week this happens. There is not much overarching plot overall, just one loose point A to point Z, and then scatter points all in between getting there. But it's not like a focused narrative so much, where a lot of storytelling lies today, and things we consume anyway. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of refreshing in that regard. But I think it also kind of suffers just slightly, not significantly, just slightly from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I'll give this episode itself an A, maybe an A minus. Yeah, I'll go with A minus, and I'll give the series an A. Like, the series is an A plus. Like, you know, there are some fucking, you know, A plus episodes, but then there's a lot of like C episodes, C minus episodes. So, but overall, it's enjoyable enough for me to want to come back for season 2.
Yeah.
What grade would you give it?
I'll give this episode an A, and I'll give the series as a whole an A. You know, a couple episodes were like B here, C there, but just a couple out of 10. I think it was strong enough to keep an A overall. The use of the guest stars that they've used, wonderful in most cases. You know, most of the episodes have been interesting enough to hold my engagement the entire time. You know, a couple were not bad, just kind of there, like we said, but overall, you know, pretty strong debut series. And I think some standout episodes were, one that comes to mind in particular was the episode that Natasha Lyonne herself directed with Nick Nolte in it. That was a fun one. This obvious for me because of my fucking hardcore fixation on Clea Duvall. Of course, you know, I really enjoyed this episode. Interesting that she plays her sister. And because, you know, in their first project together, they played love interests. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it a whole lot. Look forward to a second season.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about the first of 2 Pedro Pascal projects. The Last of Us Part 2. Or,
yes.
Jesus Christ, Greg.
Just part 1. Just part 1. Episode 9. Look for the lights. Other than the opening 10 minutes, this was almost shot for shot the game ending.
Oh yeah.
But the opening 10 minutes, we see a flashback of a pregnant woman. It is a woman named Anna. She is running in the woods through a field, very pregnant. She makes it to an abandoned house. She locks herself in. She makes it upstairs, braces a chair behind a door, and she pulls out her switchblade knife. We hear a crash downstairs. We hear clamoring coming upstairs. We hear pounding on the door, and then an infected bursts through the door, attacking her, biting her on the leg while she is stabbing it. And it's at this moment she is giving birth. So, boom, there's baby Ellie just laying on the hardwood floor while her mom's just been bitten on the inner thigh by an infected, and the umbilical cord's still connected. So, that explains how she was infected with the cordyceps virus. And Marlene shows up a few hours later with a couple of other fireflies. Oh, and Anna, sorry, was played by Ashley Johnson, who was the voice and mocap actor for Ellie in the original Last of Us game. But Marlene shows up with a couple of other fireflies, and the relationship between Marlene and Anna is stated that they have a close relationship. It's not. It's implied that they're best friends. It's not stated what they are, but she's like, "You've got to take care of my baby. Make sure she's safe. Make sure she's, you know, taken care of. And you got to take care of me. You got to kill me." She's like, "I can't do that." And she takes the baby, walks out, hands it to one of the fireflies, walks back to him, boom, kills her. So that's the origin of Ellie. Cuts to present day in Salt Lake City. We see Joel and Ellie. They are walking through the city. We see, just how it's been overgrown. They go into a building, climb up to get a view of the land. And I thought it was kind of funny because, in the game, every time you get to a new city, that's what you do. You find the tallest building, you go up to the top, you find a route through, and then proceed from there on foot, fighting off hordes of infected on the way. In this, Ellie's like, let me guess, we're going to go do this, all unenthusiastically. And Joel he injects a little bit of humor into the situation. He's like, no, I found some dynamite. We're going to blow through that. She's like, really? He's like, no, but I had you going, didn't I? We see Joel lightening up and joking around with her, trying to cheer her up. And in this, she's very distant because she's still processing the trauma that she went through of being assaulted by David in the last episode. They make their way into a parking garage. She sees giraffes. They go and they feed the giraffe, pet the giraffe, and that's cool. Then they're walking through afterwards, talking about what they would like to do after this is all said and done. Right before that happens, so they have a conversation where he's like, you don't have to go through with this. And she says, I need it all to mean something. It can't be for nothing. Well, during their conversation afterwards, Joel reveals to her that he was the one who shot and missed, and that's how he got the scar on his face, that he attempted suicide in the second day. And, they have this great bonding moment where she's glad that he didn't succeed, and he lets her know that without saying directly that, she's become his world. Not so many words. It's implied that she's the reason that he's still going. Anyway, they get captured by Firefly soldiers. They knock Joel unconscious. He wakes up in a hospital, and there's Marlene. She explains that doctors are prepping Ellie for surgery. He says, surgery? She's like, yeah, they've got to harvest the cells. He says, but cordyceps grows in the brain. She says, exactly. He realizes that it's going to kill her and he protests. Marlene says, get him out of here. Give him his pack and this knife, which was the knife that Ellie's carried, which was the knife that her mother left to her. She's like, give him this on the highway, let him go. If he tries anything, kill him. On his way out, he stops. He asks the guards which way to go at an elevator. Spins around, or a stairwell, spins around, kills them. And then this part just goes into Joel killing everybody. And the sound, the way they engineered the sound in this, they kind of muted and muffled the sounds a little bit of him picking up the weapons, emptying clips on fucking soldiers, picking up weapons from new soldiers, like you do in the game. You know, when you expire the ammo in one fucking weapon, you find another weapon and use it until that ammo is used up. Keep going, and that's what he was doing in this scene. But the fucking score, what they did to the score when they fucking like synthesized it a little bit and brought it up to like elevate his mood, that was just brilliantly done. He finds his way after killing his way. He finds his way into the surgery room where they're getting ready to cut her open, and Joel kills the doctor, tells the nurses to turn around, picks up Ellie and carries her out. And he's in a parking garage, and Marlene says, "Hey, you can't take her. There's still time. We can still do this." And then it cuts away to Joel driving in a vehicle, and Ellie wakes up in the back seat, and he tells her that the Fireflies had failed to develop a cure from other immune people because there were dozens of people that were immune. And then Raiders showed up, and he got her out of there, and they were going home. As he's telling this story, it intercuts to the conversation with he and Marlene, and it shows that he kills Marlene. He's like, you just keep coming after her. They break down a few miles from Jackson, Wyoming. They hike to Jackson, and overlooking Jackson, Ellie starts talking about, you know, her past, opening up to Joel. And then she said, I need you to swear to me that everything you told me is true. He's like, I swear. And she says, okay. And then it cuts to black. Holy shit. And
same exact music as in the game too.
Yeah. And almost beat for beat, scene for scene, same as the game.
I told my folks, I said, so that episode was pretty much identical to the game. The only difference is like the conversation that Joel and Ellie have before getting captured by the Fireflies, and then you play Joel just going on a rampage to that hospital.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh wow, okay. But
yeah,
something that I was really excited about this episode coming out was the conversation around whether Joel did was right or wrong. Because I haven't experienced that conversation in 10 years.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was a thing 10 years ago, and now it's a thing again. And here's the thing. I haven't changed sides on do I think he was right or wrong. I haven't changed sides. I'm still on the same side I was 10 years ago.
Well, I can't imagine why you would change, but one of the things about Joel doing what he did, it's the modern day trolley problem. If you don't know what the trolley problem is, I'll fill you in. Not you specifically, Mike, because I'm sure you know. But if our listeners don't know what the trolley problem is, it's an old thought experiment where on one side of the track, there's two tracks. On one side, there's about 5 people tied to the truck. On the other side is one person, and that one person is someone that you care about or someone important to you, right? It could be your mom, it could be your dad, it could be a doctor who has a life-saving procedure for you specifically. The important part is that person is important to you. There's a trolley coming down down the path, and you can change the direction of the trolley to kill the one important person or the 5 strangers. Now, it's a moral conundrum because do you actively right now the trolley's heading towards the one person. That's how that works. So do you actively kill 5 people or not do anything and save 5 people? One for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
This trolley problem has been a thought experiment because it allows the thinker to process what they think is morally correct, right? And you're not supposed to just go, well, here's the solution. Here's how you do it. You're supposed to go, well, if I do it this way, and you're supposed to toss it back and forth. If you look at this situation with Joel and Ellie in the hospital, and you aren't doing that, then you have viewed it wrong. Now, your opinion on it is neither wrong nor right. Your opinion on it is how you feel and how you would feel in that situation. And neither is wrong. But just assuming that you have the right answer is wrong. Because what Joel did can be viewed right or wrong, depending on the viewer, depending on the situation. What Joel did had wrong pieces to it. But, good reasons, essentially. It's a hard, morally correct thing to do. And watching people who didn't experience the game go through that and listening to them fight with their own inner thoughts on it has been fascinating. But I have seen a lot of people do what people did with the first game as well. And that was completely side with Joel 110%.
Really?
And I hate that. And I think that that's wrong by itself. Going, I would have done what Joel did, even if it is wrong. That's fine. No issues with that. But accepting what Joel did as right, yikes.
I've never been okay with his decision in that game.
Nor should you.
No. I've always been like, all through this game, he's redeeming his character. He's growing to care for somebody, only to become the villain in the end.
See, and I don't even see it from like
not like the villain per se, but he's basically doomed humanity to keep going through what they're doing.
Well, so I was talking to my buddy Andy, who stopped playing the game after the first
clicker.
Yeah. And I was talking to him about like what his opinion on the whole situation was. And he was like, I'd have done the same thing that Joel did because, like I care for my kids and I get where he's coming from entirely. And I'd have done the same thing. He goes, but on the other hand, like he did doom humanity. But on the other hand, who's to say that, humanity is going to accept a fucking new suddenly out of nowhere vaccine,
Excellent point.
And he's right about
that plays out.
He's right about fucking everything. That's what I love about it. There is no wrong opinion if you're thinking about it. If you're putting actual thought process behind what Joel's decision was, you're not wrong.
No. And, if I were in that situation and it were Madison, I can't say that I would act differently.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I would. I would like to think that I would, but I can't say that I would. You know?
Mark, the other guy that we have in our D&D group, who I play with on Tuesday nights, he said, "Why didn't Marlene tie Joel down? Why didn't they handcuff him to something?"
She didn't think
And
they would
I'm
have
like, yeah.
to.
Well, that's my point. Is like the reason I like him thinking it from that perspective is like that's what I love about The Last of Us, both the game and now the show, is that every single character is flawed. They make mistakes, and that's what makes the story so well constructed. So, I don't know. I'm very fucking happy right now. Like, extremely happy that this show has rebirthed the conversation I thought was fascinating 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but I'm giving the episode an A+ and the whole show an S tier, just FYI. I don't think I have to go into why. I mean, expertly shot, expertly written, expertly fucking acted. Nobody's bad. Not a scene was fucking out of place or wrong in the show. It's just been fucking beautiful from front to back. What about you?
I have to agree with both and give the same A+ for the episode, S tier for the fucking series. Best adaptation from a video game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ever. And there have been a lot of video game adaptations out there, and most of them are, not great. There's a few good ones, but this one, stellar, surpasses the source material, which is tremendous.
Uh-huh.
When you can surpass your source material, but yet stay true to it, you've done an incredible job. Just worthy of the utmost of praises. I saw a couple people like, but it's a zombie show. We didn't have any more zombies after Kansas City, hardly. So what? It's not about zombies, it's about people and their decisions and their choices and their relationships and how they are navigating through all this. The zombies are just an obstacle. Yeah, they're prevalent in the game because you have to have challenges on your way from traversing from point to point to point. But as this show shows, how it gives us scenarios to where it's difficult enough as it is without those additional fucking obstacles.
Yeah.
It's beautifully done. I absolutely love it. I'm sad that it's over.
We're gonna get our season 2. They said that they should start shooting season 2 in April.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. And I know they're gonna follow the plot of part 2 pretty closely, but they're gonna tell it differently. And knowing how part 2 plays out, because I played it, they're gonna have to tell it like a TV show. Whereas you can't do that with like the way the game's told, you can't do it the same. So, and you'll know that once you play the fucking part 2.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so excited. But let's go ahead and move on to Mandalorian season 3, episode 3.
Yeah. This is chapter 19, The Convert. It opens up where the last episode left off, with Din Djarin and Bo-Katan and Grogu on the edge of the living waters in the mines of Mandalore. He recovers and comes to. She asks if he saw anything. He's like, no, this ground just suddenly gave way and I just fell. She's like, you didn't see anything alive down there? He's like, no. So she doesn't tell him about the mythosaur. He's like, get me back to my ship and I'll be on my way. Thanks for saving me. Upon returning to Kalevala, they're attacked by TIE squadrons of TIE interceptors. And in an exciting action sequence, we see him do a drop, get into his N1 starfighter, and help Bo-Katan fight the fighters off, only for TIE bombers to come in and bomb the shit out of her castle. And they are forced to retreat, and they jump to hyperspace. The next part doesn't take place until the very end of the episode. So in between this, we cut to Dr. Pershing on Coruscant, the doctor who was wanting to clone Grogu in the first season and second season. We see him receiving a pardon by the New Republic and reintegrated into society after going through one of their reintegration institutes. But he's startled to find that Elia Kane, the female communications officer from Moff Gideon's ship in season 2, is aboard the amnesty among the amnesty program's recipients. They start having conversations, and she says that she wants to help him in his efforts to continue his cloning research because he truly believes that in the hands of the New Republic, this technology can be helpful to so many people. And he gives the example of his mother, her heart giving out, and if they had the ability to clone organs, so many needless deaths and illnesses could go treated. That's his motivation. You know, she's pushing him in this to continue his efforts, and it's like, look, what would you need to continue your research? And he's like, well, I need materials. I need a mobile lab. She's like, I can get you a mobile lab. Let's go get it. They sneak aboard a decommissioned Star Destroyer in the shipyards and steal the necessary materials on the mobile lab. But outside, she betrays him to the New Republic's law enforcement, and observing his rehabilitation, she sabotages the procedure and wipes his mind, which was wild. Very cool to see. Then it cuts back to Bo-Katan and Din Djarin coming out of hyperspace, and they have retreated to the Mandalorian enclave. He pulls out a tube that he took a water sample from the living waters to give proof of his redemption. And because Bo-Katan has bathed in the waters and not taken her helmet off since, the armorer declares her redeemed as well. And they are welcomed back into the enclave, and that's how the episode ended. You can tell Paz Vizsla was not pleased at all.
Yeah.
Really cool episode. Exciting opening. That action sequence, all that was fun as hell. But I thought that the Coruscant stuff, while not as fast-paced and exciting, it's our first real glimpse into how the government functions, how they're doing things.
Yeah, between this and Andor, I fucking love this shit.
Yeah. We're seeing it's like you mentioned to me. This is like the United States government, integrating Nazi scientists into fucking U.S. society after World War II.
Yep.
It's essentially just like that. And I really do feel that Dr. Pershing was rehabilitated, did want to continue his research to do good. But man, something about Elia Kane, she's a sneaky one.
Oh yeah.
And it was fascinating.
Yeah. And this is a long fucking episode too.
Yeah, well, this is our longest episode so far this season. The first one was 37 minutes, last week was 45, and this one was 58.
Yeah.
So
I thoroughly enjoyed the glimpse outside of like what Mando's doing, and a little bit more insight into the politics of Star Wars. Like, I make the joke all the time that one of the worst things about the prequels are the Senate meetings,
Yeah.
But it'd have been more interesting if it was political intrigue without the fucking boring part, So
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
I don't know.
We don't give a fuck about taxes and trade routes and blockades.
Right, exactly.
But seeing how government treats its citizenry, seeing how they're given housing. Granted, it's shitty housing. You could tell, there wasn't nice gardens outside of this apartment complex. These were tiny one-room apartments, efficiency apartments, essentially. Shit jobs, but given jobs regardless. But it was interesting to see, I felt.
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed it, regardless of how slow it was compared to other Mandalorian episodes. I really fucking dug this episode, and I kind of want a whole series like that. Like I think that would be really interesting, because one of an interesting thing to me about Star Wars is that there's so much going on in the universe of Star Wars that you don't have to stick to one spot. You don't have to stick to just Jedi. And having these new like little things that are outside of that purview has been awesome. So I would love an entire series that so there was a game that was going to come out a few years ago. This was a long time ago, called 1313, and it got canceled for, I don't remember why, but it was always disappointing to me that it got canceled, because it was a part of the Star Wars worlds that we had never seen. And I feel like we're getting all that now. We're getting a lot of that now.
Yeah, one of the things that Favreau said when The Mandalorian was first announced is that over the course of the series, we're going to see the seeds of the First Order being sown, and how that comes about. So, this Elia Kane definitely has some First Order vibes to her, does she not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And she's fucking cute.
But yeah, I'm gonna give this episode an A+. I really fucking enjoyed it from front to back. You had the beginning and the end that were really exciting and fascinating, and that giant center that I was just like, I was fucking enthralled the entire time. Also, what do you think those biscuits taste like? I said lemon squares.
I think they're like, Lorna Doone shortbread cookies.
I don't want to think it was shortbread because I don't like shortbread.
I love shortbread, man.
But
I love shortbread cookies.
What grade would you give it?
A+.
Okay.
It was fucking great. I wanted to see more, and I love it when I'm watching something and I'm really enjoying it, and it cuts to the credits, and you're like, "Fuck, that's all." I did it again this morning. Even though it was an hour long, it didn't feel like an hour.
Yeah.
It's just, it holds your attention. It tells a great story, great pace. And it helps that Favreau has either written or co-written every episode this season too. This one he co-wrote, but it was well done. I like how he is continuing, gives that more of a cohesive feeling to it if he's involved in every single episode, whereas in the first couple of seasons, there were some episodes that he wasn't involved with at all. And it was either Filoni or Rick Famuyiwa, however you say his name. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Like you're going to hear this. But yeah, it was still well told and everything, but I think this is just going to give a little bit more cohesiveness to it. Maybe that's just a theory. But yeah, it's fucking a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Loving that this is back. We've got 5 more weeks of The Mandalorian, so we'll definitely be checking out episode 4 next week. But what else would we be checking out next week, Greg?
We're going to be watching Bert Kreischer's Kreischer. I don't know why I want to say Kreischer, and I'm like, that's not right. Bert Kreischer's new special on Netflix called Razzle Dazzle or Frazzle Dazzle. Is it Razzle? It's Razzle Dazzle. Why did I write Frazzle on here? That's weird.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's fucking bizarre. Anyway, so yeah, we're watching that, and I'm gonna come up with a fun little March Madness bracket. And hopefully we'll have a guest. We'll see. We'll see if we can get one. But yeah, if not, I'll just pose it to Maya, and Maya will be the deciding factor on the bracket. So there's that. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for us this week. 2 shows just in the fucking bank. So that's how that works. Make sure you follow us on socials. If we do add anything to the show, that's what we'll tell you on social medias, or at least we'll try. We're really bad about it, but we'll try. So go and follow those. Those are all listed down below. If you're looking for a t-shirt coming up, spring's around the corner. So you can get a t-shirt at our Teespring store. That'll have our cartoon faces on it and our nice little logo. And if you do buy something, let us know. We'll give you a quick shout out. Also, there is a discount code for listeners who make it this far into the podcast. Maya, what is that discount code?
It is AQU15, AQU15 for 15% off your entire purchase order at Teespring.
There you go. That's it for my notes. Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my full name, Maya Dawn Fisher. It's a public profile. It's also linked to my Twitter and Instagram profiles, so it is your one-stop shop for everything I'm up to. If you can find me, because I'm under restriction for the next 2.5 weeks still. I told you about that, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
But that's where you can find me. What about you, Greg?
Chub Rock Geek on all social medias. I'll be uploading some new video game content this week on my Twitter, as I have been, which I should really download and move over to Instagram, since it's a better service at this point. But yeah, if you want to see me and my friends make asses of ourselves, that's why you do that. They're just short clips. They're not, anything substantial. But guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you. Remember, it is Mandalorian episode 4, Bert Kreischer's Razzle Dazzle, and a nice little March Madness bracket for us. Always remember, fuck the GOP. Fuck the NRA. Donate and help where you can. And we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.